Okay. Oh, yay. Hi, everyone. It's Shannon Port, and it's good to see you. So we are going live today. Today we're here, we are meeting for this live stream to talk about a really powerful new moon that is happening on April 11th, 12th. And so we're going to be discussing the archetypal energy of the Aries New Moon through the lens of Divine Feminine Astrology and working with the Sophionic codes. And so astrology is such a valuable tool for many reasons. Here on this platform, we use it for planetary alchemy as well as divine feminine alchemy. And so the theme for today, I just found myself writing it out as I was writing this out to go live, is the goddess awakens the solar feminine in humanity. And so, all right, what I would like to tell you, and so it looks like there's a couple people on. I have the chat open, so make sure to let me know who's here and where you're tuning in from. I want to make an announcement that I'll tell you a little bit about, so nice to see you. I want to tell you that last week we did the goddess report for April. So this is how this channel is working right now in 2021. So last week we did the April goddess report, and there's a really deep message in that. And so if you have not seen it yet, a lot of people have told me they're not getting notifications or seeing the videos pop up. Make sure to check in, because I'm doing regular videos. And the goddess report for April, I'm not even going to say the name of it because it was for a few different reasons, but I recommend that if you're interested in the work we do here, go back and watch that. It's the last video I did, and it's the goddess report for April 2021. So, oh, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Okay, so this is how, and then what I also want to say is Mondays, I think Mondays, 3 p.m. Eastern time is a good time for us to meet weekly. We'll start the month with the goddess report, and that's a download. That's a planetary update where I tune in to the energy stream that I work with and give an archetypal overview of the energy for the month. But then we will meet for the new moon and the full moon each month, working with Divine Feminine Astrology and the Sophionic codes. And that will be kind of like a workshop where we interact, look at the energies on the planet. And so I'll be doing those on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I'll see how that time works for people to come on live. I think it's a pretty good time. So meet here every Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time we're in right now. And I've been talking about this for a while, but I just want to let you know that I'm finally able to do this. I'm coming to the end of one of my most powerful mentorships that I've ever taught, and it's been just the most amazing 3 months, but I have a little bit of time opening up, and I'm going to do Divine Feminine Fridays on Instagram at Art of the Feminine. So if you're on Instagram, or if you're not on Instagram, you can find my page is Art of the Feminine, and I think I'm going to be able to start that this Friday and to do a Divine Feminine Friday where we really work with the Divine Feminine energy, some of the energy that we call in this video, but it will be kind of like a send-off on Friday into the weekend, and bring in a blessing and a little meditation to go with it. So this is a really loaded new moon that we have coming up. And so I just want to start by saying what we're seeing in the world right now, and I talk a lot about this in the past several videos that I've done, is that the human consciousness is really being triggered by the energies that are in the ether and that are in the air on the planet. A lot of this has to do with this, the North Node is in Gemini, and so the mind is really Gemini is a sign of the mind. It's also very fast, and it's a lot of stimulus and information. It's able to hold a lot of information on one hand. It's ruled by Mercury, but on the other hand, it's making the planet really susceptible to nervous system disorders through our mind and through an overload of information and stimulation. Primarily, this also is very connected to technology and the influences of technology that are very, very active in all of our lives right now. I mean, we could go on and on and on and talk about this, but it's very real. And we, of course, we look at this from a spiritual and archetypal perspective and a practical perspective. The Aries New Moon is about power. It's about sovereignty. It's about I am. It's about the ability to choose yourself. And to Aries is the archetype is the emperor, and it's connected to the number 4 and the square, the geometrical shape of the square, which is stability. It's a foundation. 4 is a very, very sacred number in the esoteric teachings, but it also represents, on one level, our fall into matter, because 4 is also the number of matter and the elements. And so the emperor and the sign Aries has a very powerful job to do, and an archetypal correspondence to us being able to balance these forces of nature through our higher mind. The sun is exalted in the sign Aries, and it awakens our ability to have true vision. When we cannot see clearly, when we don't have clarity of vision, we have a lot of fear, even subconscious fear, in the triggering of our subconscious body of pain. Because when we're seeing through the lens of the fallen archetype, we're in this constant drama of polarity, and it's very real. The energies actually that exist in this world are very real, and they act upon our nervous system. But when we activate the true leadership, balance, power, and sovereignty of our higher mind, and anchor that through I am into our being, we are able to hold authority over the direction of our attention, and we're able to support our emotional body and our subconscious mind in a way that we can provide a platform, that 4 square of healing, a stable foundation. And this also corresponds to 4, the 4th house, the sign Cancer. We're starting to talk. The language now is the platform of the Divine Mother. And so the 4th house is also corresponds to the number 4, and it represents our inner foundation, so that we are able to stand strong in the truth of who we are. Let's just take a moment with that, because this is what Aries is about. And it's also about what the sign Cancer is about. When we have the right foundation, we are able to stand in our truth and hold our creative power and walk in this world as self-sovereign individuals. The emperor is also really a representative of the Christ force, or the Christic force. And I want to say something about that. Somebody mentioned in one of the comments on the last video that I just did, she was saying she loves my work, but she has a little bit of a hard time, like if I bring in the Christic archetype or in some of the Sophionic archetype. I'm working with these as a universal archetype. So when I talk about the Christos, or the Christic force, or the Christ, we're talking about a universal mediator that is here to resurrect the fallen archetype into the divine birthright of all sovereign human beings, which are really a ray of the great sun, the great original creative force of the entire cosmos. And so I know that's a lot to talk about, but so these are universal archetypes, and I invite you to apply them to your own traditions. And as we go, I'm going to be bringing in examples of different correspondences. They exist in every tradition. So the I am in the 7 directions that we do is about activating that inner authority and sovereignty that is definitely a part of a part of Aries. And so we'll look at that right now. We're going to look at the archetypes and the energy moving. I invite you to, hello. I invite you to let me know, to put your comments in, because for the astrology workshops, the Divine Feminine Astrology workshops, I want them to be interactive. When I redo the download for the Goddess Report, I'm really focused on holding true to what was brought in. But here, this is more of a back and forth. So make sure to let me know if you have any input, if you have anything you'd like to bring in. That being said, I'm going to say this now because I'm focusing on this now. If you enjoy the videos that we're doing here, make sure to subscribe. And if you subscribe, let me know. There's been a little bit of an issue that I would like to get some clarity on. And so, all right. We're going to look into this. So the Aries New Moon is happening on, it's happening on April 11th and 12th. It's happening on April 11th where I am at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's New York time. So it will be happening on April 11th for me, but for those of you in Europe and rest of the parts of the world, it will fall on April 12th. So Aries is a fire sign. It's also a cardinal sign. So that tells us something about the energy of this new moon. Now this, and we already talked about it, that sign Aries corresponds to the emperor and deep, deep wisdom of this. It's also very connected to the sign Capricorn. Capricorn is another cardinal sign. Aries squares Capricorn, but Aries is connected to the number 15 on the tree of life. And so if you know my work, you know I work Kabbalistically as well. It's connected to the 15th path from Chokmah to Tiferet. And so that's why it really represents this ability to bring the wisdom and the divine logos power into to step it down into our solar logos, and then to feed it into our minds as human beings. So I know that's saying a lot, but this archetype represents our ability to have this wisdom and consciousness stepped down through the various layers. Let's say the great central sun, the next central sun after that, and on down into our own solar, our own sun, and then into our own mind, our higher mind. So Aries is the sign of the head, and the sun is exalted. It's ruled by the planet Mars. I believe Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So in the 15th path corresponds also to the devil, which is corresponds to the sign Capricorn as well. And so there's a lot of energy between these two signs, and that's why I wanted to start by saying that. The new moon in Aries will be square to Pluto. Pluto, it will be at 26 degrees of Capricorn, and the new moon falls at 22 degrees of Aries. There will be a 4-degree orb, but the new moon, as all new moons are, is conjunct the sun. It is also conjunct Eris. So we've talked a lot about Eris, that Eris is the goddess of discord. So let's look at this. Aries is ruled by Mars. On an archetypal level and mythologically, Eris is the sister. She's the female version of Mars, and she stands for revolution and rising up against unfair force or anything that she sees as being unfair. So that this goddess energy of Eris is very much about revolution and about fighting back. The new moon will be conjunct Eris. So let me see where I want to go from there, and then we're going to go straight through the planets, because I jotted down a couple other things I wanted to say. It's very sacred. There's some really, really sacred correspondences, and I'll see when I want to bring those in when it's fit, want them to flow in. But both of these signs, Aries and Capricorn, are related to the patriarchy. And the last video that I did was about the patriarchy. And so it's a deep, deep download that was received for the April Goddess Report. And so again, if you're interested in that, I do recommend that you go back and listen to it. It was posted last week. So what we're dealing with here is a time of, the reason I put the goddess awakens the solar feminine in humanity is because the Aries and the Emperor are really the custodian and the guardian of the solar feminine and of the goddess energy. Why do I say that? Because it's such a masculine archetype. Because this energy is our capacity to balance force and to hold a stable and steady platform for these forces. What we see in the world, we talk about now. Over the years, I've done many videos talking about the fallen Mars power, which is our patriarchy. So the patriarchy is governed by Mars, and the fall of Mars, Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So this energy of Mars and healing the masculine energy on the planet as it exists in all of us. It makes no difference what gender you are. We all have and carry Mars energy within our being. This Aries new moon, because it's so loaded, it's, first of all, it's stirring up a lot of energy, but it's also like a reboot and a planting a new seed for this age of Aquarius that we are in, to go forward and to regenerate the power of the higher mind and to awaken the Grail King, the desire to hold that energy as the Christic force and serve humanity, to really be able to govern this earth, to rule. The Emperor in its highest form is given the power and the authority to rule over matter. It governs that. The archetypal force is the ruler of matter, but it rules from a higher light and from a higher mind. It balances the light and the dark. And so, but it's a fiery energy, and because it holds the light of the sun. And so just going to take a peek down and see who's here. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Nice. Oh, I love it. I love the name April. I love names that are named after months and archetypes. Nice to see you from Vermont and Berlin and Colorado and Indiana, and I know in Mexico. So let's take a look at what's going on. And we'll do I am after this. We'll finish with I am and with a little activation for Aries. So, nice. Okay. Beautiful. Sweden. Oh, so nice to see you. Okay, so here we go. Let's look at the planets. All right, so the moon and sun will be at 22 degrees of Aries. There's so much Aries energy. That's why I wanted to really focus on the archetype of Aries to start the video, because Venus will be in Aries conjunct the new moon at 26 degrees Aries in an exact square to Pluto. This is huge because Venus, and Venus is solar feminine. Well, that shows why I put the title as The Goddess Awakens the Solar Feminine in Humanity. Telling you, when I was writing that, I have a clear mind. I go in, I write it down, and whatever comes out, comes out. And it was The Goddess Awakens the Solar Feminine in Humanity. Venus in Aries, which I'm partial to, my Venus is in Aries in my natal chart, is really a solar feminine energy. She just had a conjunction with the sun. She is conjunct the new moon and the sun, another sun Venus conjunction, and square to Pluto. So this is really, really activating the powers of Pluto in Capricorn and the patriarchal force. We talked a lot about it in the Goddess Report for April, and this is really, really, all of this energy is on, and that's how astrology can help us to understand the energies at work in the world, and then to tune in to the archetypes that are powerful for us to understand how to read the roadmap, how to read the blueprint. Even though astrology governs 3D, it governs over time and space. We work with the galactic core codes as well. And so we're calling in, that's what the divine feminine work is. We're calling in the higher subtle energies and creating a container for our being and our consciousness to hold the true codes, the true Sophionic codes, to help to heal the planet by first healing ourselves. So we also have Mercury in Aries at 14 degrees. So It will be about a 6-degree orb, but still in the same sign as the new moon and Venus. We also have Chiron in Aries at 9 degrees. And then we have Eris conjunct Venus, conjunct the moon, and conjunct the sun. We also have the goddess archetype of Ceres, the goddess. This is so beautiful. Oh, wow. So she's at 19 degrees of Aries, and 19 is really the number of the sun. But she's also, Ceres is very closely connected to some of the energies of the sign Cancer and the mother and the nurturing energy of the divine feminine. So she is also in Aries. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 archetypes in the sign of Aries, and this could not be more of a sign of what's happening at this time on our planet. So we said the new moon is square to Pluto. We have had a lot of energy in Capricorn and with Pluto over the past couple years. We also have Pallas Athena at 11 degrees Pisces squaring the nodal axis. So, hello from Sweden. 2 people from Sweden. Oh my gosh, I wonder if you guys know each other. So Pallas Athena is the goddess of wisdom and justice. Some would say, and war as well, but let's say it's the good fight. Athena lines up with the emperor and the archetype of Aries, and that this is wisdom and justice. And Pallas Athena is square to the nodal axis. So we have the nodal axis is at, I think it's around 13 degrees, the north node in Gemini, and then and the south node in Sagittarius. With wisdom, the goddess of wisdom squaring the nodal axis, it's amplifying the karmic state of the planet and saying this is really a time to, oh yay, some more people are coming on. This is really a time to call forth wisdom and balance. And it may require that there's a lot of adjustments that happen in the world. There's a lot of adjustments happening. That's what I'm just going to take a moment and say, there's a lot happening, and there's a lot of injustice and a lot of clouded, murky, lower appetites are stirred, and the shadow side of even the lower appetites have their shadow side, which is depression, feeling weakened, feeling life force dampened, feeling heavy, or just really distracted by all of the energy that's beaming at us from technology. Never before has there been an ability, Brazil, hi Ariel. Never before has there been an ability for centralized messages to reach all of humanity. It's centralized because everybody is linked to the same technology now. And so what that means is that through the power of suggestion, there's a lot of energy can be accessed like that, like really quick and really fast. We can have emotional waves that run through the planet. And so that is why true power, choosing yourself, choosing to understand how to balance the forces, how to have vision, will really be, Aries is the first sign of the equinox. It's when the life force touches down on the planet and starts to become matter. That's why the emperor governs over matter. So we have to choose right now, what do we want? Do we want to spiral? Because this vortex is on a spiral that's going down. Or do we want to start to claim the truth of who we are, and then hold space for beautiful healing and regeneration of consciousness? Hold space to remind people who we really are. You know, it's really true that the real conspiracies are that we haven't come to terms with what it means to the full potential of being a human being. There's a lot of alchemy that's required to do that, because when we carry elemental force in our Akashic record, we develop veils and layers of energies that sabotage our ability to have this clarity that we're talking about. So it requires some alchemy, and that's what we consider to be pain and suffering, because the removal of those thought forms and those patterns that we've carried it's hard. It's hard work, and it's hard because oftentimes it involves addictions to patterns, addiction to pain and suffering that we don't even know we have. We keep creating more of it and more of it. And then it feeds the outer archetype that draws from that energy and continues to create bondage. And so now is a real, so many people are waking up right now, but it's not to be discouraged, because once you get on the path, the universe sends us a mirror through relationships, through work, through our own our everyday life, showing us what is good and what's really rubbing us, what we need to get to the bottom of and understand, so we can have that true vision of Aries. And so I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to ask you guys, Minneapolis. I have a lot of family in Minnesota. All my Irish relatives are in Minnesota. So many. I have hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands. My mom has a huge family. So I want to ask you to, if there's any questions that you want to bring in, go ahead and put them in, or any comments. Also going to ask you to come back and comment. I'll say this now, but if you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, because it very much helps it. But also come back and leave a comment. Let me know about the time for Monday, because I'm thinking 3 p.m. every Monday. I want to do it on Monday, but I'm also curious if there's a good time for you guys to come on live and do the live stream. So I'm just going to take a peek down. Any questions? Chiron and Aries. Yep. a lot of people I know have Chiron and Aries right now. And, it's about power. So let's say you have Chiron and Aries. I have Chiron and Aries too. So Chiron and Aries is going to mean that you can teach power, but you hold power, great power, but you're going to also have to learn to really claim it for yourself and learn the lessons of power in this lifetime. And there may be a lot of forces that come in against you. You may attract the shadow side of Aries that's coming against you and forcing you to really discover who you are. So I think it's a good time to say I am in the 7 directions, and then we'll look at a little bit more of the archetypal wisdom that I wrote down, and then we'll close out. So I am is really potent today because it's Aries is a sign of I am. Libra is the opposite sign. And so it's funny, I wore this light blue shirt today because to me, it has a lot of Libra energy. And so I wanted to be the balancing force of the Mars energy and the Aries energy of red, and which is ruled by Venus. Venus governs Libra, the opposite sign of Aries. So we have Mars and Venus, these opposite masculine, feminine energies. Active on this axis. And so when we say I am in the 7 directions, I am in the 7 directions was born spontaneously in a podcast I did many years ago. It just came out. And then people started using it and telling me how powerful it was for them. And so that's the history of I am. Working in the 7 directions is a known esoteric way of working, but I am in the 7 directions was birthed in one of the podcasts I did probably back in 2013. So what we do is we balance the elements of the above and below of spirit and matter by just simply saying I am. Activating I am stands for the sun, or the solar force that is birthed through our heart. It's funny because this also is the energy of the high priestess, this color that I have on, and she really gives birth to this light. And so I'll just ask you to repeat after me. I do the diamond mudra in front of my heart for the diamond heart, and just see the light coming forward through it, but also in all directions that we say. And so repeating after me. I am before me. I am behind me. I am at my left. I am at my right. I am above me. I am below me. I am unto me. Please take a deep breath in, breathe all the way in, and just take a moment, suspend your breath, hold it, and see yourself as this authority and this sovereignty and power of the archetype of Aries, and understand that you carry this force right now. All the power that ever was and ever will be is here right now. This is the truth. This is not something made up. This power, we talked about this in the last video, that the infinite light that created each one of us is inside you right now. It sometimes takes a little looking, and you can exhale all your breath out to find it. But when we do I am in the 7 directions, it's a reminder. And so activating the 3 levels, the Trinity codes of the goddess, saying, I am, I know, I am. I am, I am, I know, I am. And so when we say, I know, I am, it's like sacred union, it's like gnosis. I work a lot with very refined levels of gnosis, and to just say, I know, I am, I know, I am, is huge. That's your relationship with this power that we're talking about. And so, every time I say it, it's like the first time I've ever said it. It's reborn every time. It's the birth. It's the birth of the Christic force, and that's what Aries is when we into matter. It's like it's not in the underworld; it's in matter. And so that we just had the vernal equinox in March, and that's the beginning of the sign Aries, and that's why this archetype is so powerful. We're regenerating the animal nature of all of these archetypes, and so the animal nature of Aries is war and greed and service, when we're selfish, and in a bad way. A lot of the sort of patriarchal institutions in the world and governing, corporations and financial institutions and even religions are going to, and on and on and on, we can go right through all of them, are going to have to open to the higher wisdom. And that is truly what my prayer is every day. In fact, hearts and minds are ready to open, but because we're on this cycle where things are being broken down, there will be people who all of a sudden start to get it. The hypnotic trance of matter makes us sometimes very carnal. We, lust and sex and stuff and money and power and fame and validation, all very amplified on social media, by the way, and with technology. It's such a it's the serpent energy that tempts us. And so raised up, it's a powerful, powerful force. But even sometimes when we think we're clean, we think we've done that work, that the last thing to go will be a shock to us, what we still hold. It's not about being perfect, but it is about having that balance. And the world is not balanced. It's not balanced. In fact, I want to say this, is that speaking of the divine mind, people right now are actually losing their grip on their mind. And I don't want to go too negative, but when you watch the news, the things that are coming in on a daily basis now are, and there's all different reasons for it, but the mind is not capable of taking all this stimulation because it stimulates the underbelly. And so more and more we're seeing individuals and souls and groups and countries and whole institutions act on that stimulation. We, the good angel, the bad angel, we always have forces whispering in our ear, do this, no, do this, do this, no, do this. It's important that the other energy of Aries is reason. I say that a lot, and I forgot to say that at the beginning of this video, but reason, the light of reason is our true divine masculine. And it's time for those governing forces to awaken reason. There are people who are holding it on the earth, but there are certain things that trigger every time and bring it down and bring it down. That's the fall. Bring it down. It takes some work, but we can expect that we can expect more. And expecting more from the outer reality is something that we can do. Just expect more and vision more. Help create it with your own vision. Okay, so I'm going to just peek at my notes really quick. The spirit of truth, the Aries, the true emperor, sees the spirit of truth in everything, in matter. Once you see the spirit of truth, you can't misuse it. This is another thing I want to say. So there's a lot of warring right now about politics and this and that and identities and this and that. When you see the spirit of truth, it doesn't matter what you are, who you are, what gender, what race, what any of it, what religion, what culture, what country, you'll see universally. And you can't take part in certain things anymore. The energy won't allow you to. Your energy is about building and raising up and healing. And also, it's just that you can't go into that vibrational level because it's stuck. The Aries is also the lower ego, and that's about war. It's always about war. The ego always feels threatened, entitled, and like the world owes it without seeing through the heart. So remember, Aries is connected to the sun, Cancer, and the Divine Mother. And there's also another sacred correspondence that I'm not going to mention on this platform. Deep energy of the Divine Mother that's held there. And so we really want to understand that that's the direction we need to go right now, because we're going to see, and I mentioned this in the last Goddess report, we're going to be seeing a lot more things that are hard to take and hard to handle. It's speeding up right now. You're meant to be able to build the communities in your mind that you desire to live in and be in. It's important to have both happening at once, but there are systematically things going down and down and down. So I'm gonna, we want authority that protects the planet, protects with wisdom, not with an agenda, but with wisdom. So I think that's all I'm going to say. And also the warrior, but the good warrior, the warrior of truth and light and power, divine light and wisdom. So let me see if I got all the planets in there. I believe I did. I mentioned everything that I wanted to. Oh, Saturn. Saturn will be squaring Uranus. Well, that's huge. Saturn in Aquarius. Oh, and then Jupiter's in Aquarius as well. I mean, Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius say a lot right already, just with understanding that. But Saturn will be square to Uranus in the sign of the goddess Lilith. Lilith will be also in Taurus at 19 degrees, another 19. Wow. Lilith and Uranus are in Taurus, holding down the Earth goddess and the planet, but Uranus is being squared by Saturn, which could mean, you know, some rumbling at this new moon to set it. So that is all for today. I'll take a quick peek down and see if anyone has anything to say. Hi from Athens. I was thinking of Goddess Isis today. I don't know why or how it might be connected to the energies. Absolutely. And nice to see you. Oh, so nice to see you. So Isis represents the forces. And so balancing the forces of the Divine Mother, very, very powerful. She is nature itself in its higher and lower form. So when we work with Isis, which I work a lot with Isis, she works directly with Aries, directly. So because Aries is really in its truth, in its healing and regeneration, is to balance those forces within, and works through the number 4 and through matter and through the power of the inner foundation. And so I hope that helps. I'm going to see if does anyone else have anything to say? So funny. People have been really quiet lately. And I think it's because I used to get so many questions and things. I think it's because people are really reflective and really receiving and receptive right now and speaking from wisdom. It's like you take something in and you really sit with it and let it do its work. The questions aren't just coming from the mind. It's a deeper level. That's what I feel, because I feel a lot of quiet and strength and power when I tune in to this group. But Again, it's so great to have you here. Thank you for being here. As always, it's always an honor to share this work. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button and come back and leave a comment. I definitely look at I had a lot of comments on the last video. And let me know once again on the time if 3 p.m. is a good time for you. I'm going to see if I can get some feedback on that. That's Eastern time. So I wish you a beautiful new moon in Aries. I will see you again next Monday, and make sure to come over to Art of the Feminine on Instagram for the Divine Feminine Friday, the IG lives on Friday at Art of the Feminine. And so I bow to you and send you many, many blessings, and also send many blessings and love. May this wisdom penetrate out into the world and touch the hearts and minds of the leaders and the those with a lot of power to make the changes, to be guided, to really listen to truth and justice and wisdom at that time. So that being said, namaste, and I will see you next time.